Hi there, and welcome to episode 2. Today we're going to be diving into the subject of breaking through indecision. And firstly, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here, to join us, and I hope that this video benefits you. So I'd like to start off by talking about the arena of indecision, that point where you come to where it's getting difficult to make a choice to move forward. There are things happening in your life. So say, for example, it's a relationship decision that you need to make. Perhaps you need to move on from a relationship that you're in right now. Perhaps communication is broken down and there's something that you need to do in order to sort of uphold or create that place where you're standing firm, standing strong in your boundaries, and you need to make a decision to sort of move on from it. Or maybe this is a job or career move, or something that you're wanting to move into, and perhaps this is some other life decision that you're making right now, and perhaps it's a big one, and that you're in a position right now where it's taking time. It's taking a lot of time for you to get to that place to make that decision, and perhaps you need to make that decision. But obviously there's something going on within you that's preventing you from making a choice. So firstly, I'd like to say that the majority of the time this is going to be linked to a fear that you may be aware of, that's arising within you, or even a fear that you think that you are aware of, but actually it's probably something even deeper than that. So it may be sort of multiple layers going on there. But usually this is something linked to a fear. Or perhaps it's a real thing, like if I make this decision, I'm going to lose this. Or if I make this decision, this might not work. Now, when you look at these things, if I make this decision, I might lose something, or this might not work, or there may be a failure, or that something will not be there in my life anymore, or what will happen. These things are all thoughts. These are imaginations. They're possible outcomes. But still, at this point, while you're thinking about them, they are imaginations. So what's happening here is that an imagination, an imaginary thought, an imaginary thing, imaginary story within your mind, a potential thing that could happen, that hasn't happened or isn't happening right now, is preventing you from actually moving forward. So we've got to really take a look at this. An imaginary thing, an imagination, is causing you to feel stuck right now. So if this is happening to you right now, we've got to sort of break it down that there is a perception that A, B, and C will happen, therefore I'm going to stay stuck here and I can't move forward because this will happen, or if I move forward I will lose this. These are all imaginations. There could be some realities in there that you're going to be losing a relationship or losing a job, or that perhaps the job that or the work that you want to be going into won't accept you, and then what's going to happen? And then that's linked into finances, or with a relationship that's linked into being alone, or letting someone down, or letting yourself down. There's going to be fears going on. There's going to be perceptions happening within you that's going to prevent you from actually making the step forward to making a choice to move forward. So let's look at these fears and what's underlying them. A thought arises within you that this will happen, therefore I want to sort of stay stuck. But if I stay stuck here where I am, I'm not happy. And therefore there's this cycle that keeps going round. So the thought of I need to make a decision allows emotions to arise within you, uncomfortable emotions to arise in you. Now, when these emotions are arising within you, they then push up even more thoughts, so they make the mind think even more about the situation. And then you've got this cycle going on. So suddenly the thoughts creating more emotions, emotions creating more thoughts, and you're going around in this circle of indecision. So to not think about it can be a safe place to be, but also a very uncomfortable one because you stay stagnant and you don't move forward, nothing's happening. The only thing that is happening is that you're not being true to yourself, that you're not truly aligned to the truth within you. And this will very slowly start chipping away and eating away at your soul. at your essence, because you're not living your truth. So staying in this sort of safe haven, not pushing yourself out, not making the decision to move forward, puts you in this zone of stress where this cycle is going around. Is the thoughts, emotions are arising, as the thoughts, negative emotions are arising, and it keeps going round and around. And so there's multiple fears going on, preventing you from making a decision. Now, what's happening here, this isn't, and the advice or the guidance I'm going to give here isn't based on a mental, logical thing that you should do this. If this is happening, then do this. If your relationship is like this, then you need to do that. Or if your work is not satisfying you, then you need to leave. These are sort of all logical things that you can make a decision on, but they're not the strongest foundation of making a decision at all. They're using the mind to unravel a mental problem, a mind-based problem. And so what happens there is the very tool, the mind, that is causing the problem in the first place, it's using imagination about the fear of what could happen. That very tool, the mind, is being asked to solve the problem. So the mind is being asked to solve the problem that the mind is creating in the first place. Now, if you can't see that there's something wrong with this approach, then, some therapy is needed. Only joking. But you've got to look at it. You've got to break it down. You can't ask the mind to attempt to give you the solution for the problem that your mind has already created. An imagination that this will happen or this will happen. Now, in all of these things, this area of wanting to make a decision to move forward, the inability, is because there's a fear. Now, there's something in the way between you and making that decision. And it's very easy to locate what this is, because once you start thinking about making that decision, an emotion will arise. That emotion is an invitation. That emotion, that feeling, whatever is arising, that uncomfortableness, is an invitation for you to go into that place, into that space. This is your soul attempting to speak to you, through this situation. And here you are with this manifested situation where there's an inability to move forward. And the bridge to getting there is an emotion that you don't want to navigate through. You want to attempt to navigate over it or beside it or under it, but you can't get to the other side because you actually got to go through it. And the uncomfortable thing is it's that feeling or that emotion that's arising, the fear, what's inside that negative vibration that's preventing you from going forward. That's the invitation. Now, whatever it is, whether it's the fear of losing something, the fear of not succeeding, or the fear of letting people down, whatever it is, whatever, it's an invitation. You've got to have a look at what is the feeling, what is the emotion that's arising when you start thinking about making the decision. Or even when you start thinking about not making the decision, there's something there. An emotion arises, and that is an invitation for you to start going in, self-inquiry, and follow the emotion all the way down to its root, to where it's coming from. And for sure, in that journey, you're going to find that it's linked to many other things. It's not just this situation. You may think that this is the situation and it's sort of isolated and this is happening right now. But when you start doing self-inquiry and you follow the emotion, that negative emotion, that fear that's coming up, when you follow it within you, you'll know that that's actually linked into many other situations that have happened in your life that are vibrating on the same level, that have that same emotion, that same fear. And here it is coming up again because you haven't broken through it. So the invitation is a form of spiritual growth or personal growth that's happening here. There is something in the way for you to move forward. And that something is an invitation, it's a negative emotion, a feeling, or a fear that's coming up. And that is the gateway for you to have growth, personal growth, spiritual growth, for you to break through something. Now, you may feel that perhaps you just need to trust more. in order to make that decision. Just trust that everything's going to be okay. And trust is amazing. It's one of the most amazing tools. It's one of the most amazing keys that you can sort of have in the universe and in your world. It opens doors, it opens things. However, who is that aspect of you that needs trust? Obviously, that aspect of you that needs trust isn't trusting, which is where the problem is right now. There is a fear. There is an emotion that's arising that's not allowing you to move forward. So that aspect of you that needs trust or wants to have trust or needs to trust the process is actually that aspect of you that is still living in the fear, which means you are living in the mind. You are in the imagination of something that potentially can happen, something potentially you're going to lose, or there is a failure that's about to happen. Now, my advice here obviously is one, the invitation is there for you to dive really deep into the emotion that's arising in terms of that bridge that you need to make to get to that decision making. That emotion is an invitation for you to dive in, self-inquiry, where is this coming from? And as you follow it and as you follow it down and go deeper and deeper, you'll get to the core. You may need to navigate a few other things that it's linked to, but just allow yourself, surrender to the process of you doing self-inquiry and going in and allowing yourself to get to that root. Because that fear, that emotion within there is sort of hiding something. And that something that is hiding is you. There is a power that has just been surrounded by a darkness, like a fear, like a shadow. And once you go in and sit with that, and be present with that fear, with that emotion, what will happen is that there'll be a blossoming that happens. And that blossoming is the blossoming of your inner power, your inner truth coming through. So allow yourself, give yourself the time to go into self-inquiry, closing your eyes, relaxing the breath, going into the heart center and just diving in to the emotion. Follow that fear, follow the emotion all the way down to wherever it goes to. Now this is one step. The other thing I'd like to point out here, that your mind, obviously linked to the fear and bringing up emotions and then the cycle is going on, what's happening is that the mind has fear. And even your thought process that you need to be stronger, you need to have courage, you need to trust that you're going to make the right decision. This is all coming from the mind as well. Because the true self within you, that higher self, that soul within you, that resides within your heart center, deep within you, there is no need for trust in the true self. Fear doesn't exist there. Trust is not needed there. The self just knows. Now, the invitation here, the second invitation, as you go into the self-inquiry and you go through that emotion, you go through that fear, is for you to reach that place within you of the self. That place within you which is your soul. Your soul already knows. And there is no fear there. And there's no need for trust there. There's an inner knowing. Now, that inner knowing is the place for you to access in order for you to find the solution, to make the decision, to move forward in whatever it is that you're being indecisive about right now. Because up, back into the mind again, there's this situation happening. And if I do this, this is going to happen. If I don't do this, this is going to happen. And here we are caught up, and then the emotion comes up and bang, you're right in the middle of this cycle going round and around and around, and stress and all sorts of other behaviors may come about from this. Now, again, dropping in, because that level of consciousness, that mind level consciousness, the disconnected mind that's linked to an imaginary fear, which is then bringing up emotions, and those emotions are real. They're flowing through your body, they're flowing through your system, and they're real, and you're reacting to that, and life is changing because of that. And this is the mind imagining that these things are going to happen. Now, this is all mind or mental level. Now, the moment you allow yourself just to find what is the feeling here, what is the emotion, just locate whatever it is. I'm going to make this decision. And then watch the emotion that comes up. It's like, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to make the choice. I'm going to do it. And then watch. There's going to be an emotion that comes up. When that emotion comes up, that's your gateway. Follow that emotion all the way in. Close the eyes. Go into a place of deeper, longer breathing. Even put your hand on your heart center. This is the work that I teach in my Source Awakening courses. You go into this place of just being very present, following the emotion all the way down. And to be sure, of course, as you follow the emotion down, it's not comfortable. It's not pretty. It's not a nice place to visit, which is why we keep avoiding it, which is why we then go into the cycle of making the decision, not making the decision, because we want to avoid the emotion, because there's some pain down there, there's some wounding happening. And it's not just linked to what you're thinking about right now. This has probably happened before. It's linked to other things. So the invitation is to dive in, follow the emotion, go through the subconscious, go through that realm, follow the emotion down, go all the way down in, and just allow it to guide you. Your being, your human body, the way your whole system is made up, is so intelligent. It's all there. Everything is there. Everything is there. You don't need any particular technique. It's all there. All you need to do is start surrendering to it, breathing into the emotion, allow it to guide you exactly to where it needs to go. And for sure, it might actually guide you first to a protection barrier. And maybe that's what you need to deal with first, is there's this security team within your subconscious that says, no, don't make this decision. We don't want to go there. Last time we went there, this happened. We don't want to go there. So you might actually have a really good security team around your subconscious that's linked to this particular sort of vibration of this decision that you're going to be making. And maybe the first level is for you to go into that and just deal with your security team, your protection that's in there. And they're doing a great job. They're keeping you safe. And you hired them. Because the last time something like this happened, a security team went up. Like, this is not going to happen again. So, okay. And here's a security team, and there they are. So maybe, perhaps the first thing that happens when you dive in is you meet the barriers that usually just make you jump right back up into the mind again. So allow yourself to just deal with that first and become at ease with that. Allow that level to start dissipating. And perhaps this might need to happen a few times. Perhaps you have no security team and you just dive straight in there. Or perhaps the security team really needs some time and some presence for you to break through. But I'm just giving you an idea, just in case you go to that level and you bounce right back up again. That's because there may just be a barricade there. Doesn't have to be, but it could be. And once you go through that, if it's there, you then journey into the emotion and go right into the fear and go all the way down. Just be present. Just be present. And allow your presence to go into that place of surrender, to the place where you sort of don't exist anymore. The I, or the different I's that are, the identities that are sort of linked to the fear of making this decision. It's not there anymore. And what is unfolding is the true I, the one I that's within you, the self. And the self doesn't need trust. It doesn't have the need to have this fear of what could happen. It just already knows. And when you reach that place, an unfolding, an awakening happening from your source, the source of your being. There's an awakening that happens, and that awakening brings about a truth. And then you have an inner knowing in regards to the decision that you need to make. So I hope that this is something that you can implement. By all means, ask some questions in the comment sections below if you need any further guidance on this. But what I'd like to finish off with, just to reiterate, that the decisions or the indecision, the inability to make that decision or choice, is coming from the mind, and it's linked into emotions and fears. And this will just keep going around and around. You may numb it for a little while, but then it will get uncomfortable because your true essence isn't totally aligned. You're not living your true essence. You're not living your truth. And it will eat away at you. So you can numb this down and make life look a certain way in order just to get through it. But it's going to start chipping away at your soul. So my advice for you is to do the inquiry, go in, follow the emotion. Any emotion, whatever it is, it's a gateway. You don't need to make a list of all these things and what you need to clear, because you can't clear anything. All you can do is journey through something and regain your truth. That's all you can do. Not releasing this or letting go of this. It's about you journeying through whatever is arising for you to reclaim your truth within that. And once that happens, the self is present. Then you are truly present. That's your true self. It's present within you. And when that is present within you, your decisions are already made. You already know what it is that you need to do. So I hope that this video has been beneficial for you. I truly hope that you've gained something from it. And like I said, if you need any further guidance, put some questions down in the comment sections below. And I look forward to connecting with you soon.